Beneath the modern cities and waterways of the Ganges Delta lies an almost forgotten world, a civilization of formidable kings and massive maritime trade networks that stretched far beyond the subcontinent. We know that by the 3rd century BC, the Mauryan Empire had established a stronghold in northern Bengal at Pandra-Nagara. But if you were to open the royal treasury of this ancient provincial capital, you wouldn't find what you might expect. Instead of stacks of minted precious metals, the state amassed millions of these cowrie shells, and they didn't come from local shores. These specific shells had to be imported across the sea from the Maldives. Transporting millions of shells across the ocean requires a highly organized supply chain. Their presence in a 3rd century BC royal treasury shows that early Bengal was functioning as a critical anchor in a vast Indian Ocean trade network. By the 4th century AD, the economic landscape shifted. The imperial Guptas took control of the region and flooded North Bengal with high-quality gold coins, known as dinaras. But by the first half of the 6th century, the Gupta Empire was fracturing. To mask their growing economic problems, later rulers began heavily debasing their currency, striking coins with 50% or less actual gold content. The appearance of this cheapened currency mapped directly onto the decline of imperial control. As the central authority in the north faded, the stage cleared for powerful, independent regional dynasties to rise from within Bengal itself. One of those new powers emerged in the 7th century, deep in the Lalmai hills. They were known as the Early Deva Dynasty. To project their authority, King Bhava Deva built the Shalban Vihara. This massive brick complex was designed to serve as a beacon of Buddhist learning. The architecture alone reveals the sheer scale of their ambition. The structure forms a massive square containing 115 individual cells dedicated entirely to housing a thriving, highly structured community of scholars and monks. Constructing an educational facility of this magnitude required immense resources. It proves the 7th century in Bengal was defined by intense religious and intellectual investment, setting a standard that subsequent empires would have to match. In the 8th century, the legendary Pala dynasty took control. Their grand strategy for managing a massive agrarian empire relied on delegating authority, primarily by legally granting vast tracts of land to specific individuals and institutions. To ensure permanence, the state recorded land grants on thick copper sheets, bound with a royal seal. These charters required specialized artisan guilds. Inscriptions track master engravers like Tatata and the Dasa family, who migrated from Samatata to prepare these royal documents. These plates served as indestructible legal technology. By literally carving property rights into metal, the Palas created an enduring bureaucratic system that bound their agrarian empire together across multiple generations. Because the Palas did not mint their own gold coins, early historians assumed the empire suffered from a lack of metallic currency, diagnosing the period with monetary anemia. However, the archaeological record shows something much more complex. For everyday, local market transactions, the population continued to rely heavily on the ancient, reliable foundation of imported cowrie shells. This animated diagram shows how the economy operated. At the wide base, you have cowrie shells. Above that sat an intermediate dust currency of exchangeable silver, known as churni. Finally, at the peak, high-quality minted silver coins circulated primarily in the eastern zones. The lack of minted Pala gold was an engineered advantage. They created a finely functional, 3-tier economic engine that successfully sustained local agriculture while simultaneously funding massive long-distance trade. As the Pala Empire eventually faded in the 12th and 13th centuries, control shifted back to regional powers, like the later Devas and the enigmatic Pattikera kingdom in the east. When archaeologists translated a 13th century copperplate from King Harikaladeva, they noticed something highly unusual. The officials recorded on the grant, a father, a son, and a scribe, had names ending in a specific suffix, Hedi Aba, Dadi Aba, and Medani Aba. Those names point directly to a Burmese origin. It shows that foreign families were settling in the region and rising to the highest echelons of the royal court, proving Bengal was deeply integrated with Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, down in the dense, impenetrable jungles of the southern Sundarbans, a different kind of architecture was taking shape. Towering brick monuments, like the Jatar Deol Temple, were built piercing the tree canopy. Excavations around these remote southern temples have unearthed spectacular artifacts, including intricate 10-armed black shale sculptures of Nataraja performing the cosmic dance. Late early medieval Bengal was a vibrant cosmopolitan crossroads. It was a place where deep cosmic Hindu traditions thrived alongside active Southeast Asian political integration. By the close of the 13th century, the political landscape shifted for the final time in this era, as the newly arrived sultans of Bengal asserted absolute control over the delta. To cement their rule, the sultans immediately reintroduced minted gold coinage to the region. Striking these gleaming pieces, stamped with intricate Arabic calligraphy, served as their undeniable claim of sovereign authority. The rulers and the dominant religions of the state had entirely turned over. Yet the robust economic, artistic, and cultural networks built by the early dynasties remained, providing the foundation that would define Bengal for centuries to come. If you want to explore more deep dives into the forgotten mechanics of ancient history, hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to AKHARA Study.